Hey guys, this is Killrob speaking, and today we have a lot of things to talk about. 2 weeks of silence from my side because there was so much stuff to do and designing to do and things to be figured out, and some of it you already see on this very page. Down below you have the very first kind of draft for a completely new UI flow, and this is extremely preliminary. There are no functions tied to it yet, so don't fret when something looks funny. It's not supposed to be all done. So, what is this about? Well, because we are going to implement scenarios in the next version, that is one of the big new features, and wrapping up basically all the design processes which we have in the game, we need to have kind of an optimized flow, because this jumping around in windows between the various managers and design screens is not really handy and can be quite confusing. So no more of that. What we do instead is to have one timeline with everything in it. The testing page here is missing, but yeah. So basically we change the whole flow, and let me go through it so that you better understand what this means. I can click here how much I like, nothing happens because that's not implemented. It's just the graphics basically, which are implemented in a very non-final version. Alright, so basically what the whole process will look like is if you want to build a car or a platform with many models in it, you just go here and, well, not on the main page, but when you go into the scenarios or sandbox or later in campaign play, you select your chassis and you select if it's monocoque and the panel type and suspension types and so on. And then you go to a platform selection screen which is basically what is currently the body selection, and there you select your body family you want to use for that platform. In the next page, then, in the next tab, you will be able to select your models. And let me show that to you here. This stays with us all the time, so I won't bore you with the main menu all the time. But let's go in here. So I built this little over-designed platform. So basically the body shell tab right now will be split in two parts. One part will be the platform selection, where you select the main body type, like for instance, if we go here, this would be the family members or the models you can select, while this is the platform selection. So if you first select a platform and then you go to the next tab, which then will again be this kind of tab, but there you have a manager which then allows you to add several types of... which one did have more than that? Here. For instance, you could add okay, I want to create 4 models, and 2 of these models will be based on this small one, and 2 of the models will be based on this large one. You can add them all, choose the color for them, and then select the model you want to work on first and continue from there. Put fixtures on it, and you will be able to use, and of course morph them individually as well. They don't have to have all the same morphs. And then you will be able to, at some point, I don't know if we probably not manage it until the next release, there will be templates for fixtures, so that when you make one platform template, you can then access it and try to place the template on top of each of the models if you so wish, and then afterwards modify them to your liking. And yeah, I think this is a much better way of doing that. And also, let me quickly show you here what this would look like, how you select models. So on top here, we then have 2 selectors, one for the platform, which you're currently working on, and one for the model, which you're currently working on. And you can jump in between as you see fit. So you can design your platforms and models in parallel. Okay, so let's go back here, and what more do we have? So morphing, fixtures, and then, of course, tests and stats, but probably there's not even the need for tests and stats there, because the models will not be saved at the end, but continually. So you can really just go back to the main menu and come back and yeah, everything is safe. So you can then continue to work on the various models. From there, of course, you have to select your engine and engine placement, or drive type, I mean, like all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive and so on. And once you've done that, you can build your engine, which then knows if it fits or not. And that's the normal process, but you will have the tabs down here instead of over here. So yeah, you just go through, you do the testing, and then what is currently the model designer will be the trim tab here, and you go them through just the normal way as you would do now, and the testing tab definitely is missing here. The factory stuff isn't, of course, implemented yet, but that will be something for the Tycoon part then, and this would be one of the final steps for you to set up production of that car. Anyway, this means that the tabs on the side will be removed. And maybe you have already recognized something which is a bit different, and that is we are actually using the full screen. We have finally decided to go from a tiny window to a full viewport view. And because we don't have the need for many different windows anymore for the various designers, and everything is baked into this timeline down below, which you can access from everywhere, there is no need for tiny windows which you can move around on your screen or dual monitor setup. So instead you have a nice full screen view, much larger viewport, and thus also a larger UI. Should play pretty well. Of course, that is not all the changes we have done in all those 2 weeks. There is many more things I would like to show you, so why not try to build a new platform? We're still, as I said before, using the side thingy here for the tabs. The bottom section is not working. So why not build a trashy off-road car, which is basically not based on an off-road car, off-road platform, but we try to make it as off-roady as possible. Because the off-road stat is in the game now, as are all the other miscellaneous stats apart from the factory-related stats and service costs, I think. So, okay, let's go for monocore corrosion resist steel, because environmental resist is important. Let's go for a front transverse setup, McPherson strut and semi-trailing arm, corrosion resistant steel again. And now, body shell. That's kind of interesting, because you want to have a body which has as little overhang as possible. So which one could we choose there? This one, for instance. That seems to be pretty compact. It has tiny wheels, and that is probably a bit too tiny. That is really tiny. We need something a bit larger. So let's go for... No, this is even more tiny. This one maybe. Yeah, this one we take. That's perfect. Alright, so now we have a decent-ish looking car. We make it as small as possible there. Drag it in. Nah, not much of a change. You want to have as little overhang as possible, so that you don't kiss the dirt wall you want to climb. And it needs to be dirt colored, of course. No, that's good. So then fixtures, we only put on some cooling, nothing fancy to design here. Whoop, that's all we need. And that is called the off-road. Very fancy name there. As you can see, we have implemented costs and man hours for the platforms and for the models. So that is a new stat you will be having there. So we did save it, yes, and now we build a new model on top of that. And the goal is still to make it as off-roady as possible. So all-wheel drive, of course, and then we put in an engine. I've prepared one, which I think would fit the off-road style pretty well. Very flat torque curve, pretty lowish, it doesn't rev very high, reasonable-ish amount of power. Very simple design, so it's reliable, cheap to manufacture, and yeah. Oh, yes, MTBF has been changed, so that is your new reliability stat. It's still using the wrong unit and it still has the wrong name, but it's reliability, and now it's 77.6, which previously was 77,600 kilometers. For the engines it has just been scaled, but because some few people really understood what MTBF means, we've changed it to a generic stat instead, and I think that will play a bit better. So, high reliability for the engine, of course, and pretty good low-end power already. So let's choose that engine. And then we go for a manual gearbox, 5 gears, and of course the gear spacing you want to have high up for an off-road car. So let's do that. We could go for overdrive gear here as well, so this might be really horrible. Oh my god, this is so bad. A very non-sporty car, that should show in the stats. Oh yes, chunky off-road tires. And for off-road wheels, if you drive over stones, you don't want to crush your rims. So let's see how large we can go here. We don't want to have too large tires, but this is not enough profile on the tire. Big stones would crush through there, I guess. So let's make the rims a bit smaller. This looks more off-roady. Should be good. Bit of rim of it. Nope, nothing available there. It's already maxed out. If we had flared out the wheel arches a bit more, then that would be possible to put on. To get a wider stance. I don't know if that would be desirable in that case, but yeah. Okay, solid discs, we make them a bit tamer, and 250 is maximum size. Yeah, just put that on. It should be fine. Aerodynamics. Who fucking cares about aerodynamics, mate? So we don't need that. Not in an off-road car. We do need a bit more cooling capacity though, because the cooling capacity influences the environmental resist stat, and the environmental resist stat is to some degree baked into the off-road stat as well. We don't need brake airflow, we don't want to suck the dirt in there, that's not considered there. So no downforce thingy on there whatsoever. Interior, okay, let's go for 4 seats, sounds reasonable. And basically just standard interior. Well, let's insulate it a bit, and we have basic, and we do need power steering, we do need anti-lock braking systems, we need traction control. That would be pretty cool. And then let's put standard safety in there. And now, yay, presets! Do we want to take the race preset? Probably not. So let's go for off-road. Yep, that should be pretty reasonable. Very soft springs there. Very high ride height, just a little camber to round it off, and seems reasonable. So let's go for testing. As you can see, the sportiness indeed is pretty awkward. Very, very low. Comfort, decent-ish. Safety, decent-ish. Prestige, pretty low. It's a shitty little car. But tameness, very high. And utility, pretty high. Utility status in now. Reliability stat is in, and that is the average reliability for the full car. So let's take a, and total costs and man hours of course is in as well for the whole car. So now you can really see if people were going a bit aggressive on those quality sliders or not. Anyway, let's go to the detailed stats screen, and as you can see, well, man hours are not fed in here, and material cost not either. The only thing which will remain NA is tooling costs and engineering time, but all the other things we basically have in now. So average reliability again, environmental resist very high, like I said. Would be even higher if I went for stuff which cannot corrode, like carbon fiber or something, but then again, that's probably not too good for off-road. And economy passenger space is included now as well. There are different morph boxes for those, so you can increase passenger space, and this gives you this feeds into the utility rating. If you can if you have more space and you can transport more cargo, it would give you a higher utility. The utility score also goes on to the size of the car. The larger it is, the less utility it has for city traffic, because you won't find parking lots and so on. But now, yes, off-road's dead. Yay, we have made a little shitty off-road car. It has a very high off-road score. Pretty decent. So, test track. Right, test track. This is now all out of scale because we have... it's not pretty. Because we have scaled the window and some of the elements stayed in place, and now the car will probably do what it's best at. Drive off-road. Let's see. Come on, little car. Accelerate. Takes a while. And who needs corners? Who needs roads? Okay, yeah, there you go. Oh, there's actually a road there. Connecting road from the pit stop. That's how to do it. Use the grass. Very nice. Don't crash. No, don't crash. Oh, alright. That is basically all, I would say. So all the new stats in there. The next things we are going to work on is the scenarios. We are currently pre-prototyping the scenarios. There will be, I think, 12 new scenarios for you to play. And that is... no, 15 even. 6 tutorials and plenty of other scenarios for those who have pre-ordered. And that should be good fun. A lot of work to do. And still quite a bit off the patch, which comes out to you. As you can see, it's all very rough. And lots of UI changes still to work on and optimize. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. Next time I will probably be able to give you a little update on what we have planned for the factory as well, because the factory stuff has to be designed basically before we went into the man-hour stuff for the platform and how we handle that. So yeah, I can give you an update on that a bit later. So, hope you enjoyed. Lots of new information here, and see you guys next time.